Yardbirds drummer Jim McCarty says we never saw a lot of money. This is a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band on Rock History Music.
Did you ever splurge through the years? Did you ever get a chance to have you go, wow, I'm making actually good money and I'm going to buy a house or whatever people do?
Uh, yeah, occasionally, but we never saw a lot of money, to be honest. I think we had a bit of a splurge when we got our we changed managers, and we changed to Simon Napier Bell, who went and got us a contract, signed us a proper contract to EMI, and then we got advances like it was like a couple of grand each in those days was quite a lot of money. We all went and bought a car, I think.
How do you end up in France?
Well, it's a long story.
It always is when you end up in France.
Well, yeah, my wife and I were in London, and we spoke to a few people, and they said, "Oh, you'd love to live in." Yeah, we knew some people that had houses in France, and they suggested, "Oh, we can you hear me? Okay?"
Yeah, yeah.
Suggested, oh, we'd love it in Provence. So we just happened to go down. I had a show actually to do down in Nice, and we had a look around Provence, and we loved it. So we thought, oh, let's come and live here.
You're doing it right, man.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my wife's no longer with me. She passed away
I'm sorry.
a couple of years ago. So I'm wondering what I'm doing, but so it's still very nice. It's lovely today. I remember somebody threw something at the Beatles. It was like a package. It was all wrapped up, and it was a brick. It was a brick all wrapped up.
They threw it at the Beatles?
Yes, at the Beatles. How terrible.
Man.
They found this brick on the stage all wrapped up in like a package, like a gift wrap brick.
Speaking of that long break, what did you do?
Between when?
After 68, into the 70s, what was going on?
Well, we carried on, of course. We were still under contract, and Keith and I used to write songs, and we did some recordings for EMI, and then it was suggested we formed another band and we'd do our own songs, and that was Renaissance. And then that sort of folded. We did various things, and we were going to reform Renaissance with Keith, and then he died, and we sort of had a certain momentum, and all of a sudden that sort of took off creatively, and I started to sing with Jane. We created a band that was called Illusion, because we couldn't use Renaissance. There was already the other band going. And funny enough, there's a box set coming out next month of Illusion, of all the old stuff we did. It's 4 CDs. It's great.
How do people get it? Is there a record company? Who's the record company? Do you know?
On Demon Records in England, which is run by the BBC, but they can get it on Amazon.
I was listening to the new song. Man, that is.
Do you like it? Oh, great!
I'm feeling it, man. That's beautiful. Obviously,
good.
about your late wife.
Yeah, actually, it was. I had a session with Suzanne. Well, not long. I suppose a while after a few months after she died, anyway. And it was very interesting because there was obviously a big queue, a long waiting list, and for some reason I managed to jump it. I think it was because I knew a friend of Suzanne's who wangled me up the list. Anyway, Suzanne picked up my parents, first of all, I never expected to talk to them, and that was nice. And then she said, "Oh, well, your wife's here. She's very patient. She's been very patient." And she said, "Oh, you've written a song for her." So I thought to myself, "Oh, have I? Oh, yes, I have. Yes, I have written a song for her." She said, "Oh, I want to hear it. Please send it to me straight as soon as you can. I want to hear that song." So I sent it over, and of course, she really liked it. It was just a demo, just to be singing with the guitar chords, very simple. And I did it with a local friend here in the village, and so I thought, oh, I might as well work on this. I'll work on it. So I sent it over to someone I've worked with before, called Hugh Syme, who's a Canadian guy, and he does a lot of artwork for Rush and Aerosmith and people. And he was in the US. He was living in the US, and he said, "Oh, I love this song. I'll see what I can do, but I haven't set my equipment up and all this yet." So it did take a while, and it must have been 1 to 2 years later that I got this arrangement back that he'd done. He said, "Well, I finally got to do your song, and here it is." And I thought, "Oh, this is amazing. This is great." So I sent it off to Terry Brown, who sort of mixed it. Terry, the English producer who lives in Toronto. And then I got it back, and then Demon recently released an album of mine called Walking in the Wildland. And I said, "Oh, do you need another song for this album, to make it a bit different?" They said, "Oh, well, it's a bit late now, but we could release something as a standalone single." So I sent them that, and they decided to release it. So that's how it all happened.
As I was listening to this interview, like I said, we didn't get into it last night because we were on, I think, time constraints. But I was watching Michael J. Fox's documentary last night, and he has Alzheimer's, and he mentioned something about fame. And he's, you get introspective, as you can imagine, as you get older, or you get a disease or something. There's some kind of watershed moment. Something happens, of course. And he said, fame to me, it's real. It feeds an interesting part of who you are. Sometimes the good part, sometimes not so good. You've seen it all. But he says, as you get older, you realize what's important. The little fame I've had, I'm glad I have it. How do you look back at fame? I mean, you're a spiritual guy. We're going to get to reactions from spirituality because it took me a long time to get out of the closet about what I believe, very similar to you. But let's talk about fame first. How do you look back at fame personally?
Well, it's sort of very nice in a way because it doesn't really bother me in any way. There's nobody knocking at my door, or there's no one camping in my garden or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? And people sort of don't recognize me so much, just hear about me, and they say, "Oh, hang on, I've heard about you. It's nice to meet you. I had all your records and all that." So actually, it's quite nice for me because I wasn't like a great front man or anything. I wasn't like David Bowie, or I was just in the Yardbirds.
Oh, just them. All right. Yeah.
I was the drummer for the Yardbirds. But most people love the Yardbirds, so it's nice.
We'll have another part of our second interview with original Yardbirds drummer. He's still with the Yardbirds. Jim McCarty, of course. There was Eric Clapton that went through that band. Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page. What the? There'll also be links to everything that is Jim McCarty, how you can listen to his brand new single, the book She Walks in Beauty, which is about his dearly departed wife Lizzie, and a lot more. If you want to make a donation to the channel, there are links at the very top for PayPal. You can join our Patreon, get early access. There are exclusive content from this interview, which only Patreon members can see. It will never see the light of day on YouTube, only on Patreon. Or you can join our regular Patreon, get early access to all our videos. Subscribe to our channel. It's important. Like our videos, share them, and comment on them as well. I'm John Beaudin. This is Rock History Music. Take care.